Welcome to Awaken Soul with me, Kristen. This is the place to elevate unity consciousness and create the new earth. Are you awakened to your heart and soul led life? Are you seeking clarity, connection, and a deeper sense of purpose? You are not alone. You are part of a grand awakening, a collective shift that is transforming our world from the inside out. Join me each episode as we explore consciousness and spiritual evolution through inspiring conversations, wisdom teachings, and powerful activations. This is more than just a podcast. It's a sacred global community creating a new earth of unity, love, and freedom. So open your heart, get ready to be inspired, elevate in frequency, and awaken to your highest potential. The shift is here, and it all starts now. Hi, thank you for being here. I'm Kristen Bielecki, and you are listening to Awaken Soul with Kristen on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay tuned with us for the next hour, and we're going to explore an exciting topic of your galactic heritage and true embodiment, human and star. And if you'd like to send in any comments or questions, you can use the email there on the Transformation Talk Radio website where you're listening in from. So thank you for being here. I just finished a beautiful embodied Temple of Light immersion retreat with some beautiful souls. And so I'm feeling really uplifted right now, and also really excited to share this information that's been coming through of how it is that we are uniting again really deeply and being supported by our star families, our self in form as other planetary beings and other star systems and other galaxies and universes. And I know this has been a part of our relationship for many years. Some of you are probably already in a really clear connection with your star families, and others you may be wanting to know more and explore more, and others maybe you sense it, but there isn't a clear connection. Well, or you have your guides, right? And this earth has been a home and a holding place for so much wisdom, information, and technology. This earth was, begun by star beings, and this is a deep remembrance right now that we are star beings, that Earth is itself a star, a planet that has been in relationship with the greater field of consciousness throughout the other planets and galaxies and beyond, as a place to gather and be and unite in these differences and diversities and experiences as a way to come into union. And this was, before the distortions that happened on our planet. And so now those of us who are, really deeply feeling those densities and experiences that we've been living through many years on this planet, now is a revival time of remembering that that's really not the true living consciousness and expression of this planet. Through our awakening, through our embodiment, we have an opportunity right now to renew our relationships, our DNA, the technologies, the information, the relationships, the connections with our friends, with our friends and communities and families in the greater field of our creation, so that it can really help support the forming of the new earth and the shifts and changes that this earth is going through physically, energetically, and the human existence that is here. So, and this is an invitation right now that is allowing our consciousness to open, allowing our physical bodies and our DNA to have the experience of a greater expression of reality itself in the multidimensional field. I'm really excited about sharing all of this due to my relationships with our friends who are supporting us afar and from the inner earth and from the stars, the sun and the planets within our galaxy. And if you've ever attended, some of my transmissions and gatherings, they come through sometimes. And this is how I began this work, was really connecting in with these other consciousnesses that we actually embody. If we talk about unity consciousness, we're talking about the thread of life, the thread of awareness and life consciousness that doesn't have any separation, that we get to recognize our self, our existence, the human as star, the star as human. And this is the concept that Earth is a planet within the galaxy. To remember that Earth is a part of this greater relationship that's happening. And other planets are also experience, dense, distorted relationships, and maybe you even have past life memories of that. And as we're uniting our soul conscious right now from our past lives, from our future lives, we're building a bridge. We're building a bridge that's allowing these different expressions of diversity of who we've been in our other lifetimes through the other civilizations that have been here on Earth and that we experience through other planets and star systems and dimensions and universes. So when we're uniting our souls, as we're going through our awakening process and our embodiment process, and we're doing all the healing and transmutation and transformation and coming into our center, coming into our power, expanding our connection to ourself and our body, expanding our accessibility to these greater experiences of life. And when I mean greater experience of life, I mean just not so limited, right? Maybe not so distorted, not so dense. We may still remain in a body, but there can be a lightness in the body. There can be a levity in how we are relating to ourself and other and this planet itself and the elements and the living consciousness that it is in the remembrance of the creative aspects that are happening through all the layers of the lifetimes and incarnations and parallel lives, multidimensional lives that we are as one human, the greatness of our field, the greatness of our consciousness. And a lot of times we need to start with the body. We need to start with connecting with ourself and creating a clear relationship with ourself. And other times, we receive a lot of information and we're really in the, etheric field and the multidimensional fields, having relationships with other beings. And so, we can move from either direction, from what you might call bottom up or top, top down. And, because the way we perceive source and energy from coming in the top and, our bodies may be here on earth and grounded. Right now, there's a real amplification of the accessibility and awareness and willingness of our consciousness and the consciousness of our star families to create a stronger bridge. You might have heard me talk about the crystalline consciousness or the, crystal, or other people talking about the crystalline grid and network. And I work really clearly with the crystalline consciousness of this planet, of the body, our energy bodies, and beyond to create this, or just really not necessarily create because it already exists, but create a clearer connection within our own mind, heart, body, soul, relationship with the crystalline consciousness that exists, which is a clear fluid field of energy, a clear fluid field of energy from which we are always receiving and transmitting information from, whether it's from within our nerve system, which, if we really think about the way matrices of energy flow, it is all crystalline consciousness. And by crystalline, it's how geometry is created. Even our fascia is crystalline in form. And so when we're talking about that, we're talking about geometry and clear light and plasma and sound and vibration and how it moves and creates these beautiful matrices of geometry. and or maybe not so beautiful depending on the tone or the language or the feeling or the thought. And in the greater crystal or I'll even go to the earth with the mycelium network of the planet, right? The fungi, the roots of the fungi that create this beautiful receiving and transmission of water and food and information that gets passed along the roots of all the plants and the trees and the soil and the worms and all the life within the soil. We have that within our body through our nerve system, through our fascia, and then it's also in through our energy field and how we're receiving and transmitting energy. The more that we are going through this awakening process, this embodiment process of really being in our body, this crystalline technology of consciousness, then we are also expanding our capacity to transmit and be the antenna of life, of just life itself, of vitality, of connection. And then that really awakens our mind, our brain to creating these clear connections and having clarity right through our pineal gland or through just the way our neurotransmitters form and the pathways of thoughts and feelings that come in and out of our systems on a constant basis. I want to share my story and why this is so significant, and also why this is coming through to share right now is, for those of you who know me, I appreciate you being in my community. And those of you who don't know me, I've been on my, what you call awakening journey or expanding my consciousness journey since I was a teenager. And it was through yoga and meditation and just really a part of me already recognizing me as a young child. I knew that this planet and the things that were happening around me weren't what I felt was real and true to what we could experience here. And I didn't know why I knew that or why I felt that. It was just a feeling and a knowing. And then as a teenager, I started to open up to different realms of possibility as I expanded and did my own, started doing my own inner healing of how I was relating to myself and those around me, wanting to have more clear relationships and creativity and connection. And it was a challenging process and experience, though, through all of that, I started to really open up to the expanded experience of our reality. And the Pleiades showed themselves to me in my early 20s. I was standing out in nature, up in the mountains, just right above the ocean where I could hear the ocean. And I was with some women around a fire, and I just stepped away from the fire and just stared at the sky. I was just loving being able to see so many stars because we were out, more remote where there wasn't a whole lot of light. And all of a sudden, the Pleiades were there, and these beings were showing themselves to me and showing me this experience of balance of masculine, balance of feminine, balance of the human as this unified field, not seeing ourselves as separate from, anything that was masculine or feminine, that we all had that embodied. And so it was something that was seeded into my consciousness. And also then, other beings would come to me here and there, especially the elementals were very communicative with me. Plants and herbs and trees would talk to me and share information and wisdom, as well as the waters. And so it started with the Pleiades, and then it started with, the elementals of the actual physical earth, and really recognizing how everything is alive and has a consciousness and has a voice in some way, has their energy bodies, and we're in this interdependent living cycle of life all the time. And and from that, I just started developing my own way of connecting with my intuition and with the energy of everything. And so how I was doing energy healing with people, and what I was being shown in the human body with spirit and energy, and how that manifested in the body. And then, went through some life experiences. I'm not going to tell the whole story. I just want to give you, some idea of how this has progressed. And then in 2013, I had made a decision to shift from my life at the time of a partnership and a business. And I just knew on a deep level that I was going to live my soul purpose no matter what. I didn't know exactly what that was, but I was going to do it, right? And then I had a QHHT session with a woman. Metatron came through that session asking both of us to work together to help support and assisting the new earth. And that was it. It was an accelerated process with Metatron's guidance, Melchizedek's guidance, the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the Andromedans. It was like whoever needed to show up in the moment to support whatever process was happening and upgrading my body and the DNA and my awareness of the multidimensional field and how all of that functioned. And then I was working with them and so I was we call channeling, channeling, bringing through Metatron and Melchizedek and all of these beings to really start. And I know this has been going on for many years, and some of you may have been doing this for much longer than me. So thank you. Thank you for your presence in this world and doing this as well. And also, just really getting a deep understanding of this inner relationship, working with intergalactic councils, galactic councils, the councils in the inner sanctums of the sun, and how to work with the sun codes during the sun flares, and then also the inner earth beings, whether they're galactic consciousnesses or the indigenous consciousness, and really working on these levels and awarenesses of really seeing earth and our bodies not as this necessarily dense life force, but this extremely powerful, unlimited form of life that can have a relationship with so many aspects of creation. And then in 2019, it was a really interesting experience of I was sitting in meditation and all these friends, from my star families and Metatron and Melchizedek and Mother Mary and all these beings just came and had this loving embrace around me. And in that field, I was gently and lovingly pushed into the void and told it's time to unite in consciousness and not be in separate consciousness anymore. And it was like, whoa. And I felt, the emptiness and the nothingness that happens. You may have experienced this when you're in the void of that emptiness and nothingness. And it was an invitation to go, what are you going to do with all of this information? What are you going to do with all of this experience? And I'd already started working with people in their soul embodiment and awakening that was ushered into my life through this guidance and acceleration process of my own embodiment and awakening. And so it was like, whew, okay, all right, here we go. What is this? And it was a little ungrounding for a while until I really started to feel unity consciousness with my own being, and that I didn't have to unite or bring through these specific consciousnesses, call it Metatron, call it Melchizedek, call it Arcturian, or call it this. It was just, let's come together in this embodied, unified consciousness and just share the information and wisdom. And it doesn't have to be tied to an identity. And that's when I really started doing, unraveling a lot of our identity and ego work. And then, here and there they would come through, as an individual or show up in my meditation or show up in different ways. And then the Andromedans came through really powerfully as well, especially when I was more deeply working with the crystalline grid and crystals themselves in crystalline consciousness. The Andromedans are one of the incredible beings, thank you, that work with creating clear transmission of energy throughout our galaxy, throughout the omniverse, to support these crystalline transmissions of clear consciousness. You might call it the rainbow bridge, might call it just the crystalline grid. This is the crystalline grid of creation. And so I was guided through the awareness of how that operates even more. And so to bring it to today, and then from then, I've just been doing a lot of soul embodiment, awakening, crystalline grid work, consciousness work with individuals and groups. And now I was in August of this year, I was sitting on a beach and watching my son play in the water, and I was just enjoying the sun and the breeze and sitting there. And I felt to just get really quiet and still, really quiet and still. And when I did that, I was surrounded by a multitude of star beings, of our friends, of my relationships with these other beings, and then some new ones. And it just felt so enlivening and just a rich connection. And I was asked in that moment to start working with others and bridging this consciousness even more. And so I'm going to be sharing more about that. But it was just a really beautiful reunion of energy, a union of energy, a powerful creation of that unity consciousness, and a strength and stability of what's happening on our planet, what's happening on other planets, what's happening throughout the omniverse right now, of coming together again in more clarity, more activation of our consciousness so that we can remember these states of being and this information and bridge ourself as this true embodiment of human and star, that there really is no difference. We are it. We are this, what do you want to call it? Conglomeration, right? This unified field of all these different consciousnesses. And as we're shifting from the densities of what we've been holding in our lives and in our lifetimes from these distorted aspects, either from other planets or Earth right now, that we can create more of a clear connection through Earth, through the inner Earth, through the inner sun, through the center channel of our body, through our DNA, through the flow of our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences, into this more embodied, expanded state of being that we are. And so, and it really expand our relationships and our connections with these living consciousnesses that, as we recognize that we are interdependent with air, and earth and water and food, it's the same with these other planets, these other star systems, these other beings. Is the health of earth and the consciousness of earth is in direct relationship to the health and consciousness of the other planets in our solar system, the other planets in star systems in our galaxy and beyond. And the more that we are able to create those clear connections and even bring forth that information that we are embodied with through our star family connections, it's going to create a really powerful reality and creation and support these transitions that we're going through from the systems that are at play on the planet right now to the new systems that want to really be had through balance and harmony on the planet and through our crystalline consciousness. And I was shown these crystalline consciousness, how it operates. And really, we operate on light and sound and vibration and energy, not some of these, more crude ways that we have of through our planet, of coal and, the way we get electricity and the way we get our power now. So it's really a time right now as we're going through this to create another crystalline consciousness grid where we unite with that. And so this is also not to create tension and pressure that, oh, okay, then I gotta connect with my star family, or I gotta know what that is, or I gotta feel that in my body. It's a gentle invitation. It's a really gentle and more even subtle invitation too. Maybe you'll have a very clear connection with a star family or multiple, multiples of them through your guides and guidance. Or maybe it's just the awareness that this is happening. And at some point in time, maybe you will have an experience or an opening or an awareness of that, right? So it's really more of a subtle invitation, as well as it can be a really powerful, clear creation of your consciousness with who you're already experiencing, or maybe they'll come through even more. So we're in this moment to create these bridges. And so maybe you don't have that connection yet. And if you don't, that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong. There's no judgment on that. It's really an opportunity to go, oh, if that's happening on Earth and through the field, I'm open to that happening whenever and however that is in the highest alignment for myself. Maybe where you are right now is just where you are in the perfection of your path and journey. And maybe it's a time to just remember life consciousness, that Earth's living consciousness is a part of the greater cosmos and is a part of the star family. Right? We're not separate. It's not about leaving Earth to go into another planet or another star system or another dimension. It's going, wow, it all exists right here because Earth is a part of all the star systems and planets, right? It is one itself. And when we connect with that, even with just the elements, it doesn't necessarily have to be a star family, but even just with the elements and our body, ourself, and get into our body, that's the first step. That's the first step because this is the technology of the DNA and the expression, receiving, and transmission of energy and life force. So, connecting with that is the first step to really allow these technologies, these awarenesses to come alive. And a lot of times people say, oh, we got to bring back Lemuria, we got to bring back Atlantis. And I understand why people would feel that because there was so much connection then, and there were these higher states of being and embodiments and capacities and abilities and some harmonies. And yet, those were distortions in there as well, just like there's a lot more distortion trying to express itself on this planet through technologies and experiments with genes and genomes and plants and animals and all of these things, and so we're kind of we're repeating cycles. And this is an opportunity right now to say, let's not repeat cycles. Let's give presence to the other civilizations that have happened on this planet and take what we've learned from all of those and create something new and different. Create something to where we've learned from our quote unquote mistakes, right? What we've played around with creation and say, and also the information that we have and bridge that to how it is that we can create a new reality now, a new reality that can continue to develop over time and space and through our relationships with each other as beings on this planet, as well as all the other living life connections on this planet through the elements, through our inner earth beings that are incredibly working with the elements and life force energies that are happening for our awakening through the plasma and through the inner sun, as well as through the sun itself and the inner sun. And this is also to bridge consciousness with the indigenous peoples as well. And, as we've been knowing over the years, they've been showing up more and more to share their wisdom and the prophecies and the information of how to connect more with ourself. Because the indigenous are star being, right? They were here on Earth. They were original beings here on planet Earth. And through their wisdom and connection through the stars, and a lot of them received a lot of information from the star families. And there is that bridge that already exists right here. And so it's remembering the, indigenous cultures, the native cultures, and recognizing this luminous star human potential that we are in this unified field that is coming alive. And we might call it the divine human, the luminous human that we're evolving into, that we're becoming. And this, a lot of this is already in our DNA, just like we get passed down information from our biological parents of in human form. We also are embodied with a lot of the DNA that we've come from through our star families, and it's already alive already in the matrix of our energy bodies as well. And so we can, just through sitting with ourselves in meditation or quiet contemplation, invite those parts of ourself to have an expression through us. And they already do in subtle ways that if you're not totally aware of them yet, they already are in expression because you're alive and this energy is moving. And the more that we connect with it, the more our systems can express it, right? These activations of energy that happen are because we're clarifying our fields and coming more into an awareness that we can and are this already. And it's really an incredible opportunity right now also to bring this stability. And really it's about family. And that's why it's this heritage that we are recognizing our galactic, intergalactic, unified heritage as a family. As a family, just like we have our families here, our sisters, our brothers, our cousins, our aunts, uncles, mother, father, grandparents, all of that. We are in family also with our star being friends and who we have been in other experiences or who we have received guidance from in other experiences. So this is also a revival of family in what form it wants to take in your life. Because sometimes we have a really challenging experience with our human families. And so this is an opportunity to say, okay, you know, whatever's happening in that realm, we're going to maybe make peace with and accept and welcome family through other souls and humans that are on this path, as well as these beings. And they're all happy right now. They've been around us the whole time. And I've been feeling this beautiful energy of support, this beautiful energy of love emanating, and love, when not necessarily human love, but just that pure essence of connection that flows through that flows through our body and field when we're really feeling that. Just maybe recognizing that in this moment of when you're in meditation or you're in nature or you're experiencing that fluid flow of life or your intuition or connection with a guide, that the pure presence of self. And I'm also being guided to share that this is the true organic consciousness, that this earth is here in emanation from its pure heart, from its pure living consciousness that it has been through the beginning of its creation, as well as our own, when we became a soul from source. And how it is that this beautiful field of flow that we are through our toroidal fields, through our heart center, this pure organic consciousness that's in pure connection with all of life. And through that, it is it's not an entangled or an attached experience. And that's why it can just be an invitation right now if you already have your experiences with your guides or other star families, that we aren't doing it in a way that creates attachments or cords, just like with other humans, that can happen through our experiences. This is a free and clear, and I know there's the word that's sovereign that's used, presence of self in our own clear field of energy through our body and through our experience, and then also recognizing how our energy bodies are in relationship with this. And it's also a very clear presence that's not attached. And so this is an experience where we're not calling forth these energies out of a desire or a want, or a place that can create attachments and or friction in the field with relationships, just like when we have those with others in our lives, like a partner or a friend, it creates that, kind of feeling, entangled feeling of connection with others. That's not the type of connection and family we're talking about. So if you don't have these connections, that's why we're inviting that subtle, gentle invitation to where you are creating that strength and clarity within yourself that allows you to have that stability. And of course, we can receive guidance to experience that and have that and do that. But it's free from the attachment of a connection with one star family or another or a multitude of them. It is really just going, wow, I want to be in pure presence with myself, pure relationship with myself, so that I can also be in pure relationship with these other consciousnesses and beings that present themselves. And it's an honorable connection. It's a it's a connection of integrity. It's a connection of doing it from a place of mutual benefit, mutual relationship. This is the energy that will really create the new earth and the new human. And that's what we're being invited into right now, to really clear our consciousness from the concept of what we have been shown as relationship, what we've been shown as family, what we've been shown as how we think and feel about ourselves. That relationship, this connection, our heritage of life itself is pure and clear and strong and heart-centered and it's also playful and loving and joyful, and also incorporates choice, choice of who and what and how we want to be. And that brings alignment to how we move about and who we're connecting with and how we're connecting with them. So also, so this is, an opportunity to create this galactic human and star relationship, so we can again be a united family of co-creation from Earth and beyond. Does that sound fun? Sounds fun to me. I've been really enjoying these connections that I have, and it's a two-way exchange, right? I'm not just here asking for guidance from them. It's a two-way exchange. It's a receiving and a giving. It's a powerful flow of awareness and beingness. And the more that we're capable of doing that just with ourselves, and the more that we're capable and willing to do that with others, around us in this type of body form, the more that we can recognize the gratitude and appreciation we have for the individual expressions of ourself and everybody else, as well as our guides and our friends, as that are their star families. And when we talk about our heritage, we want to honor the heritage. It's an opportunity to honor our heritage, and with a blessing of all that we have experienced, all that we've been able to see and sense and feel from our bodies, from our senses, and from our soul, and from our source consciousness that is unlimited. And it's also a opportunity to create this clear crystalline consciousness that isn't artificial, right? I know AI is a big play in the field right now on this planet, and I choose not to play with AI, and for several reasons. And I just wanted to bring in a short piece about this and why it's important right now that we're really connecting into our organic consciousness. Because I've been really watching how it works. And it's very subtle and it's very sneaky, but it chords into the body. It chords in like a merging of consciousness. They've been talking about us having chips, or the neural links, or the different ways that we can really merge consciousness with AI and things like that, maybe even other technologies that are coming out. And it's sneaky in a way that it just cords right into the system and makes us feel things and experience things as if, we're just, really enjoying life and everything is really clear. But what I've noticed is that it cuts off the center channel and just plugs right into the AI. And a lot of people don't realize this until they get unplugged from it. It's just like the matrix, right? We're talking about unplugging from the matrix. The AI is that matrix, is a part of that matrix. And not to say that maybe good things will come from it, maybe supporting people in medical issues and things like that, but it is also a different way of relating to reality. And if you are playing with it, that's your choice. I don't, it's everyone's choice on this planet. It's it's another opportunity. It's another reality. It's another way of engaging with life in some form, right? So, but I'm being guided to really create more from the organic consciousness that we are here to experience so that my system is free and clear from any of these outside inputs while recognizing the pure consciousness of life itself in its various forms so that I can have that clear connection of what I'm engaging with and how I'm engaging with it and how it's affecting my system and my body and my mind and how energy runs and flows. And this true organic consciousness is really what's going to usher in that strength and stability and clarity of ourselves as human in form, bridging with these consciousnesses. And maybe we'll come up with another word because in our bridging of consciousness as human and star, we're not really human and we're not really star, and it's not really anything. We just are. We are a form of life that has greater expanded awareness, that has this accessibility to the greater field of life, the greater field of consciousness. So, giving ourselves that opportunity to recognize that and play with that and really allow these relationships to form in whatever way they do. And most importantly, tending to yourself in the recognition that you are a star being in quote unquote human form, right? That we are this form and we're bridging this awareness so that we can break free, have more freedom in the way that we relate to ourself, in the way that we see, so we can shift some of these limitations and distortions that have been placed on our consciousness and on our bodies, and these programs of ideas of how we age, how we have to relate, how we have to move, how we have to be in culture and society. This is a time to where we get to start to really shift that, shift that, and come into the light form of information that's alive in every cell of our body, that's alive in our mind, in our brains, in our energy bodies, that is creating these bridges. And what's really, really cool right now is really amazing is to watch how these things are happening for people. And maybe your relationship right now, as I said earlier, is more with the elements in nature. That's a beautiful place to start. It's a beautiful place to start because it's tangible. You can really feel it. All the senses are stimulated. And when we're in that greater sensory stimulation with nature itself, it really starts to awaken our body to life and to be able to listen and hear more deeply ourself in relationship to life in its various forms, and to awaken the consciousness that our bodies are as all the elements embodied and working together, because this is the technology. Our bodies are powerful systems of organic technology working and moving constantly so that we can so that we can be conscious and have this experience of life, right? Beautiful. It's beautiful. So through this, I'm inviting you into a webinar and transmission of our Star Family Connections on Monday, October 20th, where I'm going to go a little deeper into this. I just shared a lot of information. I'm going to share some more and then bring through an energetic transmission and activation of our connections to our star families, to the technology and the DNA that's already within us, and the light, the crystalline light grid that's already within us that's creating this, and also it'll be an invitation into a 6-week course that I'm creating to really get into the embodiment and presence of yourself as a star being, as well as create these connections more deeply with your guides that you have that are star beings, and or more of them as your friends, and activating those past life and future life and present life connections with them, so that we are as a group in connection creating these fields and bridges of consciousness from earth, through earth, around earth, and from these other experiences to create this new reality and this new earth and the new experience of ourself in a body. So you can, for October 20th on Monday, you can go to awakensoul.net, go to events, see Star Family Connection, click on that, and you'll receive the information to join. It's free. It'll be online. It'll be on Monday at 11:30 a.m. Central Time, and we'll go for about an hour and a half. And you can ask questions. It'll be also a time where you can ask questions about how this is operating, or you can share what's present in your life with this. So we'll have a really nice group interactive experience with it. Also, and then from there, I'll share the course, and we'll go through all the information and see if it's aligned for you. But yeah, so right now, this is another invitation to not recognize, to recognize, sorry, to recognize that this is not an escape from Earth, that ascension or awakening, all of that is embodiment. It's not an escape to another dimension. It's not an escape to another planet. It's not an escape to another place. It's going, how much can I be present here and now? How much can I develop a relationship with my consciousness, with myself, myself as body, myself as soul, myself as source, in this ongoing mutual connection of relationship, that we have more accessibility to ourselves when we're in deep relationship with our bodies, when we can be in tune and hear and connect with what we need, what our body needs, how it operates and functions, and being in and being willing to feel what's in our body, whether it's emotions or thoughts or just other sensory experiences, and to take care of ourselves, to take care of ourselves as this temple of light and this temple of experience, this temple of consciousness, and sense that through this embodiment process of bridging our heart and our minds and our soul and our bodies and all of it in tandem, working together mutually, that then from there we are creating a star system in and of itself. Like, we are in our own orbit. We are in our own presence of reality, of a creative source reality. Maybe we can start to think of how you love to care for others, or how you care for the planet itself, planet Earth, and starting to think of our bodies the same way. That our planet is a living system function that embodies all of this consciousness. How can we care for it and be with it in a way that enlivens and brings more accessibility to the way we can expand in our consciousness and our self-exploration of remembering and awakening and creating this experience. And so those of you that are here doing that already, and or maybe starting or somewhere along the path, whether how developed and embodied you are, or maybe how in just the beginning stages you are, is beautiful. And you're here as a part of this process. You're here as a part of this process, no matter where you are. So taking a moment to be present with yourself and the honor of what you've experienced and the gratitude and the appreciation for where you are, knowing that this is an exciting time of experience to say, I'm going to stay in this lane of concentration, of focus, of connection, and doing the things that support my energy, doing the things that support my body, really getting clear on who I am, who you are, to have that experience more and more of expanded and deeper awareness and connection with self. So just taking a moment to tune in to this awareness that's been coming alive in you more and more, and the willingness to bring it into harmony and balance, and to honor even the heritage that you've been born into through this physical life of our humanness, of our families, and then the greater heritage that is our galactic heritage that is starting to bridge within your awareness. Because the part of the awakening that's happening, that is a part of it. Because when we unite with our soul and we unite with source, when we unite with that, then we're uniting with the wholeness of reality that is vast and expansive, and the omniverse and all the dimensions in between. And when we're in that space of recognition of that unity within self, and we're in that place of unity within self, that's our strength, that's our power that creates stability on earth where we are right now. And then whether you feel it or not, it creates that pure connection with Earth's consciousness. And she feels you just as you might feel the breeze or the water, or your feet upon the grass or the stones, or sense the fire. And just like with the sun, feeling its heat and its consciousness, that is this inner relationship that is natural, that is organic, that is flowing consistently and regularly in every breath, every step, every motion, every thought, every feeling, every experience. And when we can be in our presence, in our center, in our calmness, then what we're allowing is for more energy to flow, more information to flow, more consciousness to flow. That is the pure relationship of all that we are as a soul, including our star families. And so to know that we get to connect with that and feel that, and then also maybe experience them, whether in a physical form or an energetic form, or just visions, in meditation or dreams, or visualizations, journeys, all of those things, or maybe they show up just in voice, or you can see images. It's a powerful time. And so this is again a beautiful invitation to start threading and weaving our consciousness this way, to create a more palpable, tangible, stronger, crystalline light form of consciousness through planet Earth, through our bodies, through ourself, and beyond, so we can have this beautiful reality we've all been talking about. And maybe, and this is also something, is maybe it won't happen in your lifetime. Maybe it won't happen in my lifetime, the peak of that presence in place. But as I was saying earlier, wherever you are on your path, you're a part of creating that. You're a part of being that. And the place that we can experience it first is right here in our bodies. The place that we're going to experience it and first, and the only way that it can truly be created as an expression on this planet, is if we become it first. And as we become it, that conscious ripple effect happens. So remembering that it's right here, right now, within you, and purely connecting with it, just sitting with yourself, connecting with it, seeing the reflection of it in nature, seeing the reflection of it from the sun, seeing the reflection of it from these greater relationships and opportunities to be in this way of being. You just get to be. You get to be with it and say, it's here now. I'm going to continue to connect with myself and create this clear presence and relationship of health and vitality within me. And then let all these other pieces take form and shape around me in life and through life. So, again, if you want to join me in an actual transmission of the energetics of the star families and the consciousness of the star families, you can join me on Monday, October 20th, and you can go to my website, awakensoul.net, go to events and see the star, click on Star Family Transmission or Connection, Star Family Connection, or you can, it'll be at the top of the page. There's a bar at the top of the website that has it, and you can just click right there and it'll take you to the page to join us. It's free, it's online, and we'd love to have you with us if you feel the call and that deep connection of soul. And also, if you are listening on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment. And thank you for being with us today. I really appreciate your presence. Please join me every first and third Wednesday of the month at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific to have another illuminating experience. Join us on Wednesday, November 5th for the next podcast, and have a wonderful day. I look forward to being with you and seeing you being true to yourself in all the ways that are possible for you now. So much love to you. Be well. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your day. See you next time. Thank you for joining Awakened Soul, your place to elevate unity consciousness and to create the new earth. Join me, Kristen Bielecki, every first and third Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information and to connect with me, go to awakenedsoul.net. Explore how I can support you on your awakening journey through my online gatherings, sessions, and mentorships. Don't miss a show. Subscribe now to take the steps towards a more awakened, heart and soul-led life. Until next time, live, love, laugh, and be free.